Boeing has halted deliveries of some 737 MAXs as it grapples with a new supplier quality problem by Spirit AeroSystems. The issue will likely affect a significant number of undelivered 737 MAX airplanes, both in production and in storage, and could result in lowered 737 MAX's deliveries in the near term. Here are the details of this and other stories making headlines across the
Boeing shares fell 5.3% and shares of Spirit AeroSystems fell 11.8% in after-hours trade following the announcement. Boeing said that the problem, which affects a portion of the 737 MAX family of airplanes, including the MAX 7, 8 and MAX 8200 airplanes and MAX 8200 airplanes, as well as P8 Poisodium maritime surveillance aircraft based on the 737 NG, is not a safety of flight issue and in-service planes can continue to operate. The Federal Aviation Administration has validated assessment that there was no immediate safety issue based on the facts and data Boeing presented. Agency will evaluate all affected aircraft before delivery. Meanwhile, Japan, India and France have announced a common platform for talks among bilateral creditors to coordinate restructuring of Sri Lanka's debt, a move they hope will serve as a model for solving the debt woes of middle-income economies. Sri Lanka owes $7.1 billion to coordinate creditors, according to official data from its government, with $3 billion owed to China, followed by $2.4 billion to the Paris Club and $1.6 billion to India. The government also needs to renegotiate more than $12 billion of debt in Eurobonds with overseas private creditors and $2.7 billion on other commercial loans. Last month, the country secured a $2.9 billion program from the International Monetary Fund to tackle its huge debt burden. Sri Lanka kicked off talks to rework part of its domestic debt this month and aim to finalize the deal by May. Finally, Singapore's central bank has left its monetary policy settings unchanged, reflecting the city-state's concerns about its growth outlook and surprising economists who had expected another round of tightening. The announcement came as Singapore's economic growth for the first quarter missed expectations. Singapore joined economies such as Australia, India, South Korea, and Canada that have recently posed sustained policy tightening campaigns as fresh concerns about global growth overshadow worries about persistently high inflation. Gross domestic product was up 0.1% in January-March on a year-on-year basis, according to advanced estimates from the Ministry of Trade and Industry, also released today. On a quarter-on-quarter seasonally adjusted basis, GDP contracted 0.7% in the first quarter. Terry Njenga, Lunchtime News.